Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Crazy D's Equipment. So down in the comments on some of the past videos, a lot of you guys have talked about how much you guys enjoy tractors or how you like learning about them and stuff, and how you kind of wish that, you had the space or you didn't live in town and you could have some tractors yourself. I have an ideal for you guys, how you guys could collect tractors too. So if you ain't got the space for the big boys, there is an option that you guys could go with. And it's quite interesting and quite a hobby in itself. So let's walk over here and I'm going to show you some things that might give you guys some new options. Come with me. So here we go, guys. Here is a great option for you guys who either live in town or have small property or not any room for one of the big boys back there like that, even the smaller ones. The lawnmower was invented in 1830 in Gloucestershire, England. So there's a long history to the lawnmower thing, and there's so many different aspects to this hobby and this collectibles, and I tell you what, this is getting to be huge. And I'll give you some examples here. A few years ago, and I'd say 10 or 15 years ago, you would go to a farm sale or an auction or a garage sale, and one of these things like this little a Rio mower or this old David Bradley walk behind, you could pick up for 10 or 15 bucks. Now you're looking at a couple hundred for that, maybe 200 for this. So it kind of gives you the interest is there. And this is a very interesting hobby to have. There's, like I said earlier, there's so much stuff. So let's work our way down the line. We'll kind of go over some of this stuff, and I'll give you little bits of tips and things that you want to look for and things you want to think about and stuff. So we'll start down over here on this little Jiffy mower. This thing is electric. There's no motor in here. It's aluminum cast. It was made in Wichita, Kansas. And as far as I know, this could be the only one left in existence. In the 40s, in the late 40s after World War II, and in the 50s and early 60s, there were hundreds, if not thousands, of these little manufacturers popping up, getting into the boom. There was just hundreds of these companies. So a lot of them came to be because what they do is they'd go to work and they'd buy up all the war surplus stuff that they could possibly get their hands on, and they would build mowers out of that stuff. But so we got like this little electric Jiffy. Like I said, very well could be the only one left in existence. It's the only one I ever seen. This one's a little rough. I saved it from the local junker. He was very strongly thinking about throwing this into the pile of aluminum, and I had to save it. I couldn't let that go. Then we'll move over here to the Alice Chalmer snowblower. That's the other thing about this. If you want to be brand loyal, about every single tractor company made these things. So if you want to collect Alice Chalmer stuff, you can collect Alice Chalmer mowers. You can collect, they made snow blowers and power washers and all that stuff with their name. Simplicity Mower became part of Alice Chalmer. I can't remember if Alice bought them out or they bought Alice out on the mower division. But you can collect brand specific items. Case made their own mowers. International Mowers or Cub Cadet. Massey Ferguson made mowers. You can find Oliver. You can find White. You can find Minneapolis Moline. Now, the Minis, the Olivers, and the Whites are very hard to find, but they are out there and they do exist. But like I said, so you can if that's how you want to collect, you can do that. Also, you could get into collecting stuff like these walk behinds. There's so many different companies that made these. This is a David Bradley. These were sold through Sears and Roebuck. You order this in the mail, and this would come to you by freight. You'd go pick it up from your local train station or freight office that that Sears and Roebuck had for you. These things here, you can find one of these and get it going, and they usually need tires. That's just kind of how this thing goes. Every old piece of machinery will need tires, most likely. But there's so many different pieces of equipment you can use on this if you have gardening. This one has a sickle mower on it. You can get a plow, a cultivator, a disc, and the list goes on and on. A blade. And then you can get into the rare stuff that's hard to find. Like there's like a little mower deck that goes on the front of these. I've only had one, and I sold it, and I really wish I didn't, because I'm never going to find another one again. There's a rototiller, which I've never found. And then you can get into the really rare ones of these, which is, there's one called a David Bradley Tri-Track. And it's like one of these, but it has a seat and one rear wheel. That's the drive wheel. And that's kind of the holy grail. I've been looking for a David Bradley Tri-Track for years. I have a few pieces of equipment, but I've never actually found a Tri-Track. So that's something to keep in mind, or kind of think about. There's so many different options in this stuff. And then we'll go down to this little Rio. I'm sure you've seen the mowers that work that way with the bars and stuff, the old push type ones that you see in the old movies, the kid out mowing the grass that's way too tall to mow and got to work really hard at it. Well, they did come out with ones with motors on them, and they made lots and lots of those. They're getting pretty rare to find now, and they're kind of hard to find now. The thing is about these things is Rio made their own motor. They didn't use a Briggs or a Kohler or a Wisconsin or such. They made their own mower, so the parts are a little bit hard to come up with, if not non-existent. But you can find a lot of this stuff on eBay, and a lot of these things up here, you can find these on eBay if you're not going to be able to search on a farm supply or auction or stuff. Garage sales, they pop up on garage sales all the time. They pop up at estate sales. So you just kind of got to look and see. And then you get back to stuff like this Gravely. This big boy here, this thing's really weird. So the motor's not in the front. The motor's at the back behind you. All the equipment for it hooks to the front. And they made walk-behind garden tractors, and they are freaking a beast. They are. But all the equipment for the walk-behind garden tractor can go on the front of this, and you can use it that way. So you have this big round mower deck thing that goes out front on it, and you can use that way. Easy. These you can find quite a few of them. They usually bring pretty good money, but you can find those. And then you can get into the names that not everybody's heard of. I'm sure most of you around here have heard of Boland's. They made a lot of garden tractors, and then and there's quite a few different models of them. They became Husky at one time, and I think they ended up production as being built as Husky, and they go all the way up to about the size of that Kubota tractor that I had in the video a while back here. So, but they made a lot of those. And then if you don't have the space to actually collect any of these, and you just want to learn, there's so much literature out there. There's tons and tons and tons of books about collecting garden tractors that you can find out there. Go to Amazon. I think this is where I bought this from my uncle for Christmas present. And then there's the collector magazines. So that kind of tells you the interest in this stuff. So you have lawn and garden and collector garden tractors. The other little thing I want to make to you is one thing you might want to know when you're out there looking. So what's the difference between a rider mower and what's the difference between a garden tractor? And the difference is on the rear wheels. A garden tractor is going to have the wheels that bolt on. A riding mower is just going to have a pin or a set screw or something that holds the rear wheels on. There'll be so that's the difference. Now, the thing about garden tractors, a lot of them will have some form of hydraulics. They'll have 3-point adapters that you can put on them, and they'll also be able to have equipment like blades and snow blowers and stuff that you can mount on the front. Most lawnmowers or riding garden tractors are just that. Or just a riding mower is just a riding mower. It's for mowing, nothing else. So, you know, maybe pull a trailer. That's the other thing real quick. Collectible trailers like that, those the old trailers like that, they're handy as hell, and they're very collectible now. That little trailer there, when I bought it back in the day, $25. If I went to list that now to sell it to the collector community, that's like a $300 trailer, and that just kind of baffles me. So, but hey, I just kind of wanted to go over this stuff with you guys, give you guys some options, some ideas. Yes, I live in town. Yes, I have no room. I can't have tractors, but I am interested in this hobby. So here's your solution to that. You can get into it. You know, got a garage or a building out back for a shop. And then plus this stuff is useful there in town. You can use it to mow your yard and make a lot of noise and annoy your neighbors and have a good time. So, hey, so thanks for coming in, guys. Thanks for watching another episode of Crazy D's Equipment. I appreciate it. Remember, you can check us out on the Facebook page, Omega Ag, so you can see what we have on the lot at the moment. Like, subscribe, share the videos, and I'll catch you next time, guys. Thanks for coming in.